Yo, did you know Big?
No, no, I didn't. I didn't know Big. I knew people who knew him, but I'm from Harlem, and at that time, you didn't get out necessarily a whole lot of Harlemites hanging out in Brooklyn. You know, it happens all the time nowadays, but back then, you know what I mean. It wasn't necessarily a whole lot of cross pollination necessarily. You know, at least unless you're like a superstar producer or whatever kind of thing like that, but generally speaking, cats from Harlem wasn't really hanging in Brooklyn a lot, and vice versa. Back then, that was a different time.
You was actually at the vibe party the night that everything happened, right?
Hmm. Hmm. I was there. Yeah, I remember when I left the party. I remember seeing him uh, sitting in the truck in the front seat. You know what I mean? Well, where he was sitting, and I remember thinking like, "Wow, why?" He's. I remember thinking to myself, "It's like a little bit visible." You know what I mean? Thinking that maybe they should have him sit somewhere else. You know what I mean? That's like a very clear, vivid memory I had as I was walking out because I walked out and then I went. I lived not too far away from this, so I was on foot. So it couldn't have been too long after I left because they were in the carport. So they would have been leaving. Like I left right before everything happened, basically. You know. So I just remember thinking, wow, like you know he shouldn't be sitting there. I remember thinking that. No disrespect, it was just a thought that came through my mind. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Peace, back with another installment of Hip Hop History. In that clip, you just heard Bokeem Woodbine speak about how he was confused by Biggie Smalls being in the front seat of the SUV right before his untimely demise. I've always thought that. I actually had a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago in regard to that, to why he wasn't in the back seat and why there wasn't better security on the night that he got killed. It just really doesn't make any sense. He was on his way up, about to be on top of the world, and that unfortunate situation happened. I wish his security team would have been thinking like Bokeem Woodbine and I in regard to his safety. It's unfortunate. And I've never really heard anybody else say the same thing. So that's why I'm doing this video. This is just my 2 cents. You can sell it, keep it, throw it away. It doesn't matter. Like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, peace.